Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from a throwaway account from the What Should I Do subreddit. And it says, my 35 male friend, 36 male, loyalty tested my wife, 40 female, without my knowledge. She failed. I feel done with them both. What to do? Been with my wife 10 years, married for 6. I thought we were really happy. She's got a kid from a previous relationship, dad not in the picture. I've taken on the role. We both work, me full-time, her part-time. We live a good life, holiday abroad every few months, no real financial worries. Been in pretty good shape and plenty of love, affection, and sex between us. I thought we'd be together forever. On to my friend. His wife left him in horrific circumstances last year. He came home one day to find her gone with their 2-year-old. She left him for a drug dealer she met on Instagram who ended up assaulting them both, and it's a massive legal issue that destroyed him. Since then, he's become very anti-women despite having a great family full of women. He's constantly telling us how all women are the same, etc. Well, last week he sent me a load of screenshots. Must have been over 100 of them, going back to November last year and finishing on January 15th. He got another phone and started messaging my wife pretending to be a man from a couple of hours away who got the wrong number. Within a week, he was getting nudes from her, sexting, etc. By Christmas, she was telling him she loves him, and the final one was a photo of her walking to a hotel to meet him, and then angry messages from her asking where he was. I went round to his house and was distraught. He told me he had done this to another 6 friends of ours. Only my wife failed. He had the phone with him, and as I was there, she messaged him asking where he had gone, and saying how much she misses him. He's shown me that she had been sending stuff like that the past week with no response. I left there without really saying anything and went home, and once me and my wife were alone, I confronted her with the evidence I have. She started crying and saying she doesn't know why she did it, and it just started off as a bit of fun at work, and then she got carried away. She said she feels like she loves us both and doesn't want to lose me. I didn't know what to do, so just left and went to a hotel. I'm still here now and unsure of what my next step should be. I want to cut them both off, but I will miss my stepdaughter so much, and my friends are saying I can't be mad at my friend as he did me a favor. TLDR, friend catfished my wife and she fell for it. That is absolutely brutal, and let's face it, there's no coming back from that. Your wife had months-long emotional affair. She was sending nudes, said I love you, and she even showed up to a hotel to sleep with someone. There is absolutely no coming back from that. I mean, how do you look at that person again and trust them? I mean, I certainly wouldn't be able to. But the friend wasn't doing you a favor either. He didn't pull you aside after the first, suggestive message and say, I need to tell you something. He continued it for 3 months, collecting nudes of your wife and letting her fall in love with him and watching her plan to cheat physically, all while he said nothing to you. And the fact that he's been doing this to 7 couples? It's wild-ass behavior, isn't it? No Doubt says, well, that's a shit thing that your friend did, but it's more concerning that your wife fell for it. She was going to sleep with this stranger, and to top it off, she is the only one that fell for it out of the other wives. I will leave it at that. I would love to be a fly on the wall when she finds out your friend catfished her. Opie says, I think I could get past it if it was just texting, but I can't get past the going to meet him. Another commenter says, yeah dude, as a caveat, you're kinda lucky it was your shit for a friend. But checking the stats, this woman would have fully gone through with it had there been someone there, and still could with a new fling. Cut your losses and ditch both. Mrs. Sem84 says, divorce the cheating wife and drop the woman-hating friend before dating again, or he'll do this to you over and over. Opie says, I think this is the only way I can move on. Lucid Dream says, I just can't stop thinking about the level of effort your friend went through to do this. He got another phone, this whole scheme for months, to try and get nudes of his friends' wives, manipulate her, like, how sick. As for your wife, I think a divorce is justified. Trust is broken. Unfortunately, this will hurt your stepdaughter. You can maintain a relationship with her, but who knows what her mother will tell her about the reason for divorce. You will likely lose her too. I'm so sorry. Your friend is garbage, and I would cut him off first. Opie says yep, he wants to prove all women are bad, even though most people are good. I'm not stating I'm leaving both of them behind for good. My stepdaughter is 15. So it was 3 days after this that Opie did come in with an update and says, I want to thank everyone who commented on my last post. There were so many I couldn't reply to them all. I'll address a couple of things from my first post. A lot of people said my wife did nothing wrong. She went to a hotel to meet another man for sex. There are photos of her at the hotel waiting. She messaged saying she was there and I purposely haven't had sex with him, meaning me, for ages, so when I get my hands on you, I'll be ripping your clothes off and my own. Then messages of her asking where he is, and even a week later when he stopped replying saying she misses him, and pictures of herself saying how much she still wants him. A few people said my friend wasn't catfishing her and he was sending photos of himself and she knew. My friend is white and dumpy. The pictures were of a black adult film star stolen from his Twitter. Now onto the update. First and most importantly, I met my stepdaughter yesterday. We met at a park, and when we saw each other, we both started crying and just hugged for 5 minutes. Every memory of her from when I first met her went through my head. I didn't want to let her go for fear of never hugging her again. We sat on a park bench, and the first thing she asked is what happened. She's 15, and I didn't see a reason to lie. I said her mum got catfished and she fell for it, and has been having an online affair for a few months, and told another man she loved him. I left out the nudes and hotel bit. My stepdaughter said her mum had told her that all she had done was message an old friend, and I got jealous. But she said she knew I wasn't like that, and her aunt, wife's sister, had told her that her mum had cheated and I had done nothing wrong. I told her I have hundreds of screenshots, but I won't show them her. She begged to see one so she could know. I tried to find a non-sexual one and showed her one where her mum said, I love you more after 10 weeks than I do him after 10 years. My stepdaughter was horrified as I was and just said, oh my god. After that, we sat and talked for a couple of hours about everything. She said she still wants me as part of her life, and when I get my own place, she'll be over all the time. She said I'm still her dad and always will be, even after I told her I planned to divorce her mum. She said her auntie and her grandma both encouraged her to stay in touch with me because she told them she was scared I didn't want her anymore. I said nothing could be further from the truth. I gave her a lift back home, and we've been texting non-stop since, sending stupid videos to each other. And she said her grandma said we can use her kitchen to bake together again, so we're doing that later today. As for my wife and my friend, I've told my wife I want a divorce, which caused a barrage of texts and phone calls I ignored. I've told my friend I want no contact with him, but I did ask why he didn't stop once he got nudes, and he said, because you don't get jealous, and I thought you'd probably just find it funny, which is probably true. If she told me a wrong number was texting, I probably would say flirt with it for a laugh, lol. I do get people's point though when they say I shouldn't be mad at him, because if it wasn't him, it would have been someone else. But he did target her insecurities. He knew she was insecure about her height and said, first time I finally meet an Amazonian woman at a bar, and we have a good time and she gives me a false number. And he knows she struggles with having an athletic build. And he mentioned his ideal woman would be tall and strong built, and how he doesn't get the trend for short women with big boobs and bums. But at the same time, she's a fucking detective for the police force and should have recognized she was being played. Sorry, it's not an exciting update. Unkfester says, thank you for loving that little girl the best way you can. It's not her fault. My heart hurts for her. And you. Loopy says, it's not hard to love her, she's incredible. My life is better with her in it. Geriatric Hippo says, I can't agree with you more. I divorced my wife when my stepson was a teen 17 years ago. That has never stopped being true. I'm proud of the man he became and still proud to consider him my son. I also want to know, as dark as it got and as hard as it was, I did get through it eventually and moved on. I dropped the hate and resentment a while ago, and I was able to find contentment in my life years ago. Hopefully that can be true for you as well. Stay strong and good luck on your journey of healing. Jay Cedric says, well, I'm glad at the very least your daughter and in-laws are on your side on this one. Sister-in-law not lying to her niece is an example of a woman with integrity. Mother-in-law offering her kitchen so you could spend time together baking is an example of a maternal figure who cares about her granddaughter above all. OP, get your divorce and use your village to keep being in your daughter's life. Your friend and soon-to-be ex-wife are pieces of shit, insecurities or not. But you are young and still able to start over someday while keeping the most important people in your life around. Overall, your future seems brighter now than on D-Day. Keep moving, soldier. And Opie says thank you. The family have been terrific with me, to be honest. Much Leather says, question. Never heard of being a part-time. You mentioned she doesn't work full-time in a previous post, detective in the police force. Is that a thing in your country? Opie says yeah, she mainly does desk work now. Just 3 full days a week. She's in anti-corruption now, so investigates other officers. And Much Leather replies saying, well, that is just embarrassing. Good lord. If her stupidity gets out in her workplace, she wouldn't have a shred of credibility. Already a boys club. My friend was a detective. She ended up quitting because her full-time hours with massive overtime on cases meant she hardly saw her kids. I think seeing too many murdered little ones also was a factor after becoming a mum. She could compartmentalize to a point before. OP replies saying, yeah, to be fair to her, she's seen some horrendous stuff. And a few years ago got injured in a car crash at work and has been part-time and office-bound since. She's physically okay and has said to me she used it as an excuse/reason to take a step back until her 25 years is up. And it's nice to see that the family is keeping that daughter and the OP is the priority in this situation and supporting them both to help them see each other going forward. But what do you guys make of this situation? What do you think of the friend in this one? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now my next story comes from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit from hotlab4411, and it says, am I the arsehole for ruining a funeral? My aunt, dad's sister, passed away, and I'm back in town, so I decided to go to the funeral. She had 2 children, a son who lived with her and a daughter I will call Sue. They lived in a small town about 2 hours away. It was going to be a family viewing at the funeral home and then graveside service. As I was signing the guest book, a cousin I hadn't seen in years came over and we started talking. This was in the hallway before you get to the viewing room. Sue came out and shushed us. I was embarrassed thinking we were talking too loud, even though I didn't think so. So we went into the viewing room. There everyone was sitting and looking at a monitor with videos of the deceased. They had sad music playing but no one was talking, just sitting quietly looking at the monitor. After about 15 minutes, I whispered to my sister who was in front of me that I was going to bounce. She said she would go out with me because she had something for me in the car. She and her husband followed me out. Then their adult children and their family followed. My cousin also came out to talk in the parking lot. I noticed other people leaving also. We all talked in the parking lot for a little while and left. Sue contacted me on Facebook and said I ruined her mum's funeral by leaving and taking half the people with me. I don't think I did anything wrong, but apologized and said I had an emergency come up and had to leave. She then blocked me. I feel bad that I upset her at her mum's funeral, but have never been to a funeral, family receiving/viewing, where no one was allowed to talk. Am I the arsehole for leaving the viewing early and having half the room leave with me? First little update in the same post said, just for some clarification. In our family, it's normally a 3-day process. On day 2, there is a family night. This is where everyone gets together to talk and remember the loved one. In her case, there was no family night and this was billed as the family will be receiving during this time. We did not think it would be quiet time to stare at the monitor. Of course, the process does change. As for my father, he was in a hospice, so we told everyone to come see him while he was alive, as we would not be holding a formal family night once he does pass. This was his wishes. Now, I've been to a few funerals in my time, and I've never been to one that is like this, so I can't comment too much, but I would find that personally uncomfortable sitting watching a video or a slideshow for 15 minutes plus with sad music and all this kind of thing. I mean, each to their own, got nothing wrong with it if that's what you want to do. But I also wouldn't blame anyone for getting up and leaving and not wanting to be a part of that or see that for any reason. And it's not like you even made a huge thing about it. You just got up and left and people followed you. So I can only assume other people might have been feeling the same way as well. And look, Sue might be grieving in this. Grief is absolutely valid, but it sounds like she's misplaced her anger here. But a commenter says not the arsehole. It's not like you stood on a chair and proclaimed, "This blows, everyone back to my place." Other people just took their cue from you and followed you out rather than sitting in awkward silence. That's on them. If it wasn't you leaving, they'd have left after someone else. Outrageous Bag says, "Lol, this exactly. Sounds like others were just waiting for someone to make the first move." ADHD of Craft says, "Have people not been to a viewing before? Not the arsehole at all. I've never been to a viewing where you couldn't talk. That's absurd and nobody stays for the entire time. You come in, pay your respects, chat quietly with folks, and leave when you're ready." Ronan the Lich says, "I've been to about 4 wakes and funerals for family members. The first 3, grandfather, uncle, and grandmother, were around 20 years ago, and each wake had 4 viewings over 2 days. I stayed for the entire length of all 3 of them, and you know what I did? Caught up with family. I picked up my young cousin and swung her around, calling her super her name while singing the John Williams theme. In the hallway outside of the viewing room, of course. I chatted with my out-of-state cousins and we joked and quoted movies with each other. The 4th was more recently when I had my own kids, and I chatted with cousins who had their own children as our children played together. I can't imagine being quiet for that long." So OP came in a day later and said, "Huge update. I spoke with my sister last night. She said that Sue and her aunt has been mad since our dad's funeral. My aunt always thought she was better than us. My dad worked with his hands and lived outside the town in a rural area. Our house was not nice but worked for us. My dad was a handyman. He did a lot of work for people who could not afford to call a high-priced professional. Many times he did not charge for his emergency services. He would just tell people to buy him a case of Coca-Cola or a pack of cigarettes when they could. When he got sick, a lot of people from the community came to help out. There were people cooking in the house or bringing food. Someone cut the grass, washed our cars, cleaned in and around the house, etc. Many of these people said this was their way of paying Dad back for the work he had done for them. When he did pass, the funeral procession was huge. My aunt and Sue said that having those people at the funeral embarrassed them. Then in contrast, there were not many people outside the family at my aunt's funeral. I guess when we left, she took it as a slight. I've not been close to them since I left the area years ago. So I will carry on as usual. Say hi at the next wedding or funeral and keep moving." And now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Have you ever been to a funeral like that before? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Odd Paramedic 3007 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit. And it says, "Am I the arsehole for not putting pregnant girlfriend on deed of the house? My girlfriend and I have been together for 2 years. She is pregnant and the baby is due in April 2026. Before we found out she was pregnant, we discussed possibly buying a house together. After we found out she was pregnant, this plan went into overdrive. When we went through the process of getting pre-approved, I discovered that she has pretty significant credit card debt. Given that, a joint mortgage would be significantly more expensive than me getting a mortgage alone. I said, since I'm the only one on the mortgage, I think I should be the only one on the deed. My girlfriend said she was okay with this. We found a house that we both liked, made an offer, it was accepted, and we are closing the 2nd week in January. She is now refusing to move into the house unless she is on the deed. I'm refusing to put her on the deed given that she is not on the mortgage. She is not on the mortgage and 100% of the down payment comes from my savings. Edit. I am paying solely the down payment, mortgage payments and utilities, HOA fees, insurance, and maintenance costs. Am I the arsehole?" A commenter said to OP, "So you don't love her enough to get past the mistake she's made, but you like her enough to buy a house and have a kid with her. Got it. You're the arsehole." OP said she has 90k in credit card debt, where she represented it as about 10k. Lying to your SO about something so significant when you're planning a future is a choice, not a mistake. Consistent Pickle replies saying 90k? Oh wow, the debt is that bad, yikes. Whew, she really misled you about her finances before the pregnancy. I guess you're not the arsehole now that have a better understanding of the timeline and how big of a lie she told. Organic History says, you should put it in your post that she has nearly 100,000 in credit card debt. That indicates severe financial issues. He would not want her on the deed because she could get sued and collected against or take out a HELOC, which Google says means Home Equity Line of Credit. Commenter continues, be clear and set attainable goals. She needs to go to financial counseling and get on a debt management plan before being out on the deed. Another commenter says 100k in debt and they've only been together for 2 years. She's a lunatic thinking she's entitled to be on the deed. Pink says, have you had some discussions about how you'd combine finances and solve her debt? Is she willing to start budgeting and paying off her debt? Can she show you over the next few months that she is willing to work on her financial management? Even though it'll be especially hard now that there's many things to buy for the baby and maternity leave to deal with. Opie says I'm not willing to work on that until I get a straight answer for why she lied to me about her finances. Still have not received an answer. We did meet with an attorney who did make some suggestions to her, including filing for bankruptcy. There is a complete lack of trust I have in her at the moment. I know some things too says. If she moves in, even as a tenant or guest, you need an agreement with her so she doesn't end up entitled to the house from living there or being your partner. Consult a lawyer. 100k worth of credit card debt is fucking insane. I wouldn't even want to marry someone who is that terrible with money. She will drag you down. Opie says we've talked to a lawyer. She cannot be entitled to the house unless I add her to the deed or we get married. Miami Lloyd says, not the arsehole. I'm a family law attorney. Putting her on the deed would be a disaster for you. Do not do it until she gets a financial house in order. Matt the Hack says, don't put her on the deed until you get married. Don't get married just because you have a kid together either. This whole situation is fucked. So there was an update on this one which came 6 weeks later. And it said a couple of weeks after my original post. My girlfriend broke up with me due to the housing situation and not being on the deed. She started looking for a new place. We were living together. She could not find a place that she could afford on her own that was not sketchy, and none of her friends were interested in finding a place together. Given the situation, I agreed to let her move in. While I know it's not ideal, she is still pregnant with my kid. She will stay in one of the guest rooms. I'm still paying 100% of the costs for the house, and she still will not be on the deed. She will be responsible for her own groceries. We have a written lease agreement, but I will not be charging her rent. She will need to buy her own furniture, bed, etc. That said, she has made multiple comments about how it's not really her home, how it's unfair to her, how she feels she has no security, how she is at my mercy since everything is in my name. She has asked to decorate the whole house. I'm opposed, but as a compromise I told her that she is free to decorate her room and the nursery as long as she does not make any permanent changes, like new paint. From my perspective, I'm being more than fair by providing a free place to live and covering all housing expenses, even after we broke up. I am responsible for my kid and providing said kid stable housing, and that is what I am doing. I just kind of like after this one, what money is she decorating the whole house with? But Cups of Queen says it's not really her home and she doesn't have any security. Good for her for basic understanding. Too bad she doesn't understand she's in a situation of her own making. Well Tall 8000 says, it is her home. It is not her house. She is a tenant. She is not a homeowner. She is living on Opie's generosity and good graces. It sounds like she reached too far. Like, as I read it, Opie was going to continue the relationship even though she obfuscates her massive debt. He wasn't going to put her on the deed when he was literally paying for everything, but she was still going to get most of the milk for free without buying the cow. He put a line in the sand that it belonged to him and she couldn't let it go. I understand the security concern, but she was a gigantic liability to him and them as a family unit. He was just being realistic about it. She should have just played nice. As she is finding out, she doesn't have options after all, and that sweet deal was the best one she was going to get, and she probably blew it forever. I would anticipate she's going to try real hard to leverage the kid to get him to marry her, to get her out of this predicament. I hope he has come to understand this whole situation, and who and what she is and doesn't fall for it. Detroit Smash says, still get a paternity test all the same. Trust, but verify. Victor Rivada says, lol, she's not at your mercy. She's at the bank's mercy, being nearly 100k in debt. Holy shit. And she's still got the audacity to complain when you are taking care of her. Yeah, that's a way to destroy your relationship real quick, isn't it? telling someone that you have 10k in debt, but really you actually have 100k. I can't imagine anyone in a relationship not looking at that and going, what the fuck? And I mean, it sounds like he's being generous, letting her live there rent-free after she broke up with him over not getting the deed. But it did sort of have me wondering what their plan for the future currently is, because, you know, co-parenting as exes under one roof with a newborn, it sounds like that could be a potential nightmare situation, and you need some kind of plan for going forward, because otherwise, what, is she going to stay with you forever till the kid's 18? And there was quite a lot of comments after this one as well, mentioning the paternity test as well, just to verify because of that initial lie. But what do you guys make of this situation? Put yourself in OP's shoes, and your partner came up to you, initially told you, you know, that they're 10k in debt, but then turned around and said, oh, actually, it's 100 grand. How would you feel about that? Is that trust instantly broken? Is it workable? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, your support, your time, it always means the world to me. So thank you so much for being here, for being a part of the channel, for being lovely to each other as well. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.